Hello, I'm Tatocat. Welcome to my channel. Today we are playing Doki Doki Literature Club. This is a game for those who are not easily disturbed. If you are younger than 13, please stop watching. If you are easily disturbed, please stop watching. There's all these content warnings when you start the game up. I already started the game, so I'm just reading off the top of my head. Okay, good. Last time we played, we met all the girls, named myself after a sweet potato. They begrudgingly joined a club and we made a really weird poem. And I said I was going to write down the words, but I didn't. I'll write down the words for the next poem I do, and then I'll read it out loud to you. Wonderful, fantastic people. Alright, let's continue. I guess that means it's up to me to rescue the situation. Hey, don't worry about it. First of all, I wasn't expecting anything in the first place. So any nice gesture from you is a pleasant surprise. It'll make me happy no matter what. Is that so? Yeah, I won't make it a big deal if you don't want it to be. Alright. Well, here. Yuri reaches into her bag and pulls out a book. I didn't want you to feel left out, so I picked out a book that I thought you might enjoy. It's a short read, so it should keep your attention even if you don't usually read. And we could, discuss it if you wanted. This is... How is this girl accidentally being so cute? She even picked out a book she thinks I'll like despite me not reading much. Yuri, thank you. I'll definitely read this. I enthusiastically take the book. Well, you can read it at your own pace. I look forward to hearing what you think. Now that everyone's settled in, I expect Monica to kick off some scheduled activities for the club. But that doesn't seem to be the case. Sayori and Monica are having a cheery conversation in the corner. Yuri's face is already buried in the book. I can't help but notice her intense expression like she's waiting for this chance. Meanwhile, Natsuki is rummaging around in the closet. I'm really curious to talk to Yuri a little bit more, but at the same time, I feel bad for distracting her from reading. I catch a glimpse of the cover of her book. It looks like the same book she lent to me. More than that, she seems to be on the first few pages. Crap. I think she noticed me looking at her. She sneaks another glance at me, and her eyes meet for a split second. But that only makes her hide her face deeper in her book. Sorry. I was just spacing out. A matter of distancing, I made her uncomfortable. Oh, it's fine. If I was focused, then I probably wouldn't have noticed it in the first place. But I'm just rereading a bit of this, so... That's the book you gave me, right? Mm-hmm. I wanted to reread some of it. Not for any particular reason. Just curious, how come we have two copies of the same book? Well, when I stopped by the bookstore yesterday, that's not what I meant. I mean, I just happened to buy two of them. I see. There's something fairly obvious here that Yuri isn't telling me, but I decide to let it go. I'll definitely start reading it soon. I'm glad to hear. Once it starts to pick up, you might have a hard time putting it down. It's a very engaging and relatable story. Is that so? What's it about anyway? Well, Yuri closes the book and scans her eyes over the back. The book is titled portrait of Markov. There's an ominous-looking eye symbol on the front cover. Alright. I just want to make sure I don't accidentally give anything away. Basically, it's about this girl in high school who moves in with her long-lost younger sister. But as soon as she does, her life gets really strange. She gets targeted by these people who escaped from a human experiment prison. And while her life is in danger, she needs to desperately choose who to trust. No matter what she does, she ends up destroying most of her relationships, and her life starts to fall apart. That's kind of dark, isn't it? Listen, it's not like she's reading Poe, okay? Yuri made it sound like it was going to be a nice story, so that dark turn came from nowhere. No, she said it was a short story. Yuri gently giggles all of a sudden. Are you not a fan of that sort of thing, Satsuma? No, it's not that. I mean, I can definitely enjoy those kinds of stories, so don't worry. I hope so. Yeah, I totally forgot that Yuri is into those things. She's so shy and reclusive on the outside, but her mind seems to be completely different. It's just that those kinds of stories, they challenge you to look at life from a strange, new perspective. When horrible things happen, not just because someone wants to be evil, but they have their own goals, or their own philosophy that they believe in. Then suddenly, when you thought you related to the protagonist, they're made out to be the naive one for letting their one-sided morals interfere with the villain's plans. I'm rambling, aren't I? Not again. I'm sorry. Hey, don't apologize. I haven't lost interest or anything. Well, I guess it's alright then. But I feel like I should let you know that I have this problem. When I let things like books and writing fill my thoughts, I kind of forget to pay attention to other people. So I'm sorry if I end up saying something strange. And please stop me if I start talking too much. I really don't think you need to worry. That just means you're passionate about reading. The least I can do is listen. It's a literature club after all. That's true. In fact, I might as well get started reading it, right? You don't have to. What are you saying? Just a moment ago you said you were looking forward to it. Let me just get the book. I quickly retrieved the book that I had put into my bag. Alright. It's fine if I stay here, right? I slip into the seat next to Yuri's. Yeah. Are you sure? You seem a little apprehensive. I'm sorry. It's not that I don't want you to. It's just something I'm not very used to. That is, reading in company with someone. I see. Well, just tell me if I end up distracting you or anything. Alright. I open the book and start the prologue. I soon understand what Yuri means about reading in company. It's as if I can feel her presence over my shoulder as I read. It's not a particularly bad thing. Maybe a little distracting, but the feeling is somewhat comforting. Yuri is in the corner of my eye. I realize that she's not actually looking at her own book. I glance over. It looks like she's reading from my book instead. Sorry. I was just... Yuri, you really apologize a lot, don't you? I do? I don't really mean to. Sorry. I mean... Here, this should work, right? I slide my desk until it's up against Yuri's, then hold my book more between the two of them. I suppose so. Yuri timidly closes her own copy. Once we each lean in a little bit, our shoulders are almost touching. It feels like my left arm is in the way, so instead I use my right hand to hold the book open. I guess that makes it kind of difficult to turn the page. Here. This is a nice CG. I really like the art in this game. Like her hands are detailed, her nails, even the background is detailed. It's not kind of random, and it is the same background that we were just in. Sometimes, you know, when you say they change the background, it's different from where you just were. Oh look, there's shadows on the wall. That's cool. Yuri takes... Also, for someone being a NEET, he sure has some game in flirting, I feel like. Yuri takes her left arm and holds the left side of the book between her thumb and her forefinger. I do the same with my right arm on the right side of the book. That way, I turn the page and Yuri slides it under her thumb after it flips to her side. But in holding it like this, we're huddled even closer together than before. It's actually kind of distracting me. It's as if I can feel the warmth of Yuri's face and she's in the corner of my vision. Are you ready? To turn the page. Sorry. I think I got a bit distracted for a second. I glance over at Yuri's face again, and our eyes meet. I don't know how I'll be able to keep up with her. That's okay. You're not as used to reading, right? I don't mind being patient if it takes you a bit longer. It's probably the least I can do. Since you've been so patient with me. Yeah, thanks. We continue reading. Yuri no longer asks me if I'm ready to turn the page. Instead, I just assume that she finishes the page before me, so I turn it by my own volition. We continue the first chapter in silence. Even so, turning each page almost feels like an intimate exchange. My thumb gently letting go of the page and letting it float over to her side as she catches it under her own thumb. Hey Yuri. This might be a silly thought, but the main character kind of reminds me of you, a little bit. You think so? How does she? Well, I guess she's more blunt in a lot of ways, but she also second guesses all the things that she says and does. Like she's afraid she'll do something wrong. It's not like I can see into your head or anything, but they're kind of reminiscent of some of your mannerisms. I see. Yuri remains silent for a moment. But, Satsuma, that's probably a terrible thing to have in common with her. That's so embarrassing that you think that. Wait, I didn't mean it in a bad way or anything. Sorry, I really didn't know you were self-conscious about that sort of thing. Never mind, he's an idiot. I guess I more meant that it's kind of cute. What are you saying all of a sudden? Okay, everyone. I think it's about time we share today's poems with each other. We might not have enough time if we wait too long. Yuri exhales, spared from finishing her thought. Is that alright, Yuri? You look kind of down. I'm sorry if you haven't been looking forward to this. It's not. It's fine. Yuri releases her hand from the book, causing it to close on top of my thumb. Alright, I guess I'll do some more reading tonight. Or would you prefer I only read it with you? I guess I don't have too much of a preference either way. In that case, I'll read a little more tonight. It'll be more fun to read with you after it picks up after a bit, you know? That's good reasoning. In that case, feel free to finish the first 2 chapters in your own time. Alright. I stand up. I make a mental note of where I left off in the book, then slip it back into my bag. By the way, did you remember to write a poem last night? Yeah. My relaxation ends. I can't believe I agreed to do something so embarrassing. I couldn't really find much inspiration since I've never really done this before. Well, now that everyone is ready, why don't you find someone to share with? I can't wait! Sayori and Monica enthusiastically pull out their poems. Is it just me? Or does Monica kind of keep popping in at just perfect times? It seems like she is. Sayori and Monica enthusiastically pull out their poems. Sayori's is on a wrinkled sheet of loose leaf torn from a spiral notebook. On the other hand, Monica wrote hers in a composition notebook. I can already see Monica's pristine handwriting from where I sit. Natsuki and Yuri reluctantly comply as well, reaching into their bags. I do the same myself. Who should I show my poem to first? Sayori, Natsuki, Yuri, or Monica? Yuri. Yuri seems the most experienced, so I should start with her. I can trust her opinion to be fair. As Yuri reads the poem, I notice her eyes lighten. Exceptional. What was that? Did I say that out loud? Yuri first covers her mouth, but then ends up covering her whole face. He's going to hate me. You really didn't do anything wrong, Yuri. I guess you're right. What am I getting nervous for? Yuri takes a breath. So, what kind of writing experience do you have? Your use of imagery and metaphors indicates you've written a lot of poetry before. We were literally, I'm pretty sure we picked, there was chaos and massacre and depression. I don't know how well our poem could have possibly ended up. Really? Wow, that's a huge compliment coming from you. This is actually my first time, really. Huh? Yuri stares at me blankly, then looks at my poem again. Well, I know that. I just meant, Yuri trails off, unable to find an excuse. She traces her fingers along the words in the poem, as if breaking it down more thoroughly. Yeah, okay. This is the reason I was able to tell. It's just that there are specific writing habits that are usually typical of new writers. And having been through that myself, I kind of learned to pick up on them. I think the most noticeable thing I recognize in new writers is that they try to make their style very deliberate. In other words, they tend to pick a writing style separate from the topic matter, and they fit the two together. The end result is that both the style and the expressiveness are weakened. Once Yuri finds her train of thought, it's as if her demeanor totally changes. Her stammering is completely gone, and she sounds like an expert. Of course, that's not something you can be blamed for. There are so many different skills and techniques that go into writing even a simple poem. Not just finding them and building them, but getting them to work together is probably the most challenging part. It might take you some time, but it all comes with practice, and learning by example, and trying new things. I also hope that everyone else in the club gives you valuable feedback. Natsuki can be a little bit biased though. Biased how? Well, never mind. I shouldn't be talking about people like that. Sorry. It's fine. I'm not sure if Yuri is apologizing to herself, to me, or to Natsuki. Do you mind if I read your poem now? Please do. I'd love to share my thought process behind it. Yuri smiles dreamily as if that's a rare opportunity for her. Which itself is kind of funny. After all, isn't this supposed to be a literature club? Okay, so this is our first poem, I guess, other than the one I read in an entry, but I don't know if that counts. Click outside the poem area to continue. Okay. Is this why this is not for people who are under 13 because they weren't taught how to read cursive? Ghosts under the light. The tendrils of my hair illuminate beneath the amber glow, bathing. It must be this one, the last remaining streetlight to have withstood the test of time. The last yet to be replaced by the sickening blue-green hue of the future. I bathe. Calm, breathing air of the present, but living in the past. The light flickers. I flicker back. That was actually a nice one. I'm sorry I have such terrible handwriting. I have terrible handwriting. That's not terrible handwriting. What? I wasn't thinking that at all. But it took you a long time to read. Well, I just don't read script very often. I actually think your handwriting is pretty. That's a relief. Also, I like the poem. Even though it's short, it's really descriptive. It wasn't too short? I usually write longer poems. Not at all. I'm really glad you liked it. I'll be honest, since it's our first time sharing, I wanted to write something a little more mild. Something easy to digest, I suppose. Are you into ghost, Yuri? Uh-huh. Actually, this story isn't about ghosts at all, Satsuma. Really? I must have totally missed the point. Well, I suppose you did only glance over it after all. But remember that poets often express their own thoughts and feelings and experiences in their work. They usually do more than tell a simple story or paint a picture. In this case, perhaps the subject of the poem is only being symbolically compared to a ghost, lingering in her last remaining place of comfort, unable to let go of the past, and soon to be left with nothing. That's a lot more solemn, putting it that way. I hadn't even thought of that. That's impressive. Huh? It's nothing really. Yours was impressive too, so... Nah. If anything, I could probably learn a thing or two from you. You think so? Yeah, of course. You know, I was really nervous about doing all this, but in the end, I enjoyed it. I'm going to keep doing my best for you, Satsuma. Me too. Okay, Sayori, Natsuki, or Monica. do Monica. Let's do Monica because it, I don't know, starts with an M. Hi, Satsuma. Having a good time so far? Yeah. Good. Glad to hear it. By the way, since you're new and everything, if you ever have any suggestions for the club, like new activities or things we can do better, I'm always listening. Don't be afraid to bring things up, okay? Alright, I'll keep that in mind. Of course I'll be afraid to bring things up. I'm much better off just going with the flow until I'm more settled in. Anyway, want to share your poem with me? It's kind of embarrassing, but I guess I have to. Don't worry, Satsuma. We're all a little embarrassed today, you know? But it's that sort of barrier that we'll all learn to get past soon. Yeah, that's true. I hand Monica my poem. What's with her face though? Great job, Satsuma. I was going, oh, in my head while reading it. It's really metaphorical. I'm not sure why, but I didn't expect you to go for something so deep. I guess I underestimated you. That compliment, though, seemed like it was trying a bit so hard. You know, when somebody hands you something and it doesn't taste that great, they're like, so, why do you keep holding it in your mouth? I just want to savor the flavor. I was just like, so, good. Is kind of what that compliment was like. It's easiest for me to keep everyone's expectations low. That way it always counts when I put in some effort. That's not very fair. Well, I guess it worked anyway. You know that Yuri likes this kind of writing, right? Writing that's full of imagery and symbolism. Unlike Sayori, who likes using simple and direct words to describe happiness and sadness. Yuri likes it when readers are left to derive their own meaning out of it. It's very challenging to write like that effectively. Both allowing people to get something out of it just by feel, or letting them deeply analyze all of the nuances. It can take years of practice, which I'm assuming Yuri has at this point. I never really asked though. I'm sure I'm nowhere near her level yet. Don't worry so much about that. You do your own thing. Monica's words. You do you. Just keep exploring and learn by trying new things. I'm sure I'll end up trying different things a lot. It could take a while before I feel comfortable doing this. That's okay. I'd love to see you try new things. That's the best way to find the kind of style that suits you. Everyone else might be a little bit biased towards their own kinds of styles. But I'll always help you find what suits you the most. So don't force yourself to write the way everyone wants you to write. It's not like you have to worry about impressing them or anything. Haha. Anyway, do you want to read my poem now? Don't worry, I'm not very good. You sound pretty confident for someone who claims to not be very good. Well, that's because I have to sound confident. That doesn't mean I always feel that way, you know? I see. Well, let's read it then. Poem number 2. Hole in Wall. It couldn't have been me. See the direction the spackle protrudes? A noisy neighbor, an angry boyfriend, I'll never know. I wasn't home. A peer inside for a clue. No, I can't see. I reel blind like a film left out in the sun. But it's too late. My retinas. Already scorched with a permanent copy of the meaningless image. It's just like a hole. It wasn't bright. It was too deep. stretching forever into everything. A hole of infinite choices. I realize now that I wasn't looking in. I was looking out, and he, on the other side, was looking in. Huh. I like that. So, what do you think? It's very freeform, if that's what you call it. Sorry, I'm not really the right person to ask for feedback. That's okay. Yeah, that kind of style has gotten pretty popular nowadays. That is, a lot of poems have been putting emphasis on timing between words and lines. When performed out loud, it can be really powerful. What was the inspiration behind this one? Well, I'm not sure if I know how to put it. I guess you could say that I had some kind of epiphany recently. It's been influencing my poems a bit. An epiphany? Yeah, something like that. I'm kind of nervous to talk about deep stuff like that because it's kind of coming on strongly. Maybe after everyone is better friends with each other. Anyway, here's Monica's writing tip of the day. Sometimes when you're writing a poem or a story, your brain gets too fixated on a specific point. If you try so hard to make it perfect, then you'll never make any progress. Just force yourself to get something down on the paper and tidy it up later. Another way to think about it is this. If you keep your pen in the same spot for too long, you'll just get a big dark puddle of ink. So, just move your hand and go with the flow. That's my advice for today. Thanks for listening. Who should I show my poem to next? Natsuki, because it starts with an N. I don't know if this will change anything, depending on what order other than maybe the first person I show it to. So, since I'm going with Yuri, I don't really care who follows, so I'm just going alphabetically. Satsuma, if you're not going to take this club seriously, then go home. What? Harsh? What, you expect me to believe that you actually put effort into this? Do you think I'm stupid? I'm not a writer. Maybe it's not very good, but yeah, I did put in effort. We all start from somewhere, right? If you're still proud of the first poem you ever wrote, then I'd like to read it. Painful to think about? Fine. Well, sorry. You'll get better anyway. I tell you what to improve, but you're better off just trying again. Fair enough. Well, to each their own, I guess. Anyway, I guess I gotta share mine now. That was harsh. They did say she was biased. She only likes cute stuff, and apparently my list poem isn't good enough for her. Knowing you, you'll probably think it's stupid. Has the music been changing with each person's poem, and I just now only realized it because this song came on for Natsuki? Eagles can fly. Monkeys can climb, crickets can leap, horses can race, owls can seek, cheetahs can run, eagles can fly, people can try, but that's about it. That's not bad. It is cute. It's not bad. You know, animals are born to do all these things. The only thing that people could do is try to do things. It's not a bad poem at all. It's certainly better than my list poem. Yeah. I told you you weren't gonna like it. I like it. What? Just be honest. Listen, I'm not a jerk like you, so... Just because maybe cutesy poems aren't my thing, I'm not going to just bash it because it's not my thing. I am. Why are you so convinced that I wouldn't like it? Well, because everyone in high school thinks that writing has to be all sophisticated and stuff. So people don't even take my writing seriously. But isn't the point of poems for people to express themselves? Your writing style wouldn't make your message any less valid. Yes, exactly. I like it when it's easy to read, but it hits you hard. Like in this poem, seeing everyone around you doing great things can be really disheartening. So I decided to write about it. Yeah, I understand. But the other nice thing about simple writing is that it puts more weight on the wordplay. Like it set up for a rhyme at the end, but then made it fall flat on purpose. It helps bring out the feeling in the last line. So you did. I guess more went into it than I realized. That's what it means to be a pro. I'm glad you learned something. Didn't expect that from the youngest one here, did you? Yeah, guess not. I decided to humor her with that last comment. I don't really care how old everyone is, but if Natsuki is feeling proud, then I won't take that away from her. Who should I show my poem to next? Oh, so many options. Sayori. This is a good poem, Satsuma. Are you sure it's your first time? Of course. It's not that good. Am I the kind of guy who would be writing poems in his spare time? I guess you're right. But that's why it impressed me. Well, to be honest, I was afraid that you wouldn't do it seriously. Or that you wouldn't write one at all. I'm really happy just that you wrote one. It just reminds me of how you're really part of the club now. Not to mention the fact that I'm standing in front of you in the club room. Well, of course. I'm not really into it yet, but that doesn't mean I'll break my promise. See? It's like I said before, Satsuma. Deep down, you're not selfish at all, you know. Deep, deep, deep down. Trying new things like this for other people. That's something only really good people do. We kind of stayed because we thought the girls were hot. Thanks, Sayori. I'm not sure if Sayori sees the full picture of my motive here. Then again, I can't deny that she's part of the reason I joined. Knowing how much this means to her and all. Yeah. And I'm gonna make sure you have lots of fun here, okay? That'll be my way of thanking you. Alright, I'm gonna hold you to that then. Yay! Now, you'll read my poem too, right? Don't worry, I'm really bad at this. We'll see about that. Dear Sunshine, the way you glow through my blinds in the morning, it makes me feel like you missed me, kissing my forehead to help me out of bed. Make me rub the sleepy from my eyes. Are you asking me to come out and play? Are you trusting me to wish away a rainy day? I look above, the sky is blue. It's a secret, but I trust you too. If it wasn't for you, I would sleep forever. But I'm not mad. I want breakfast. Sayori. This is just a guess, but... Did you wait until this morning to write this? No. Just a little bit. You can't answer just a little bit to a yes or no question. I don't see why not. I forgot to do it last night. Well, at least that makes me feel a little better about myself. Don't be mean. I still tried my best. Yeah. I didn't mean to say it was a bad poem. It came out nice. Or how should I put it? It sounds just like you. Really? Yeah. Especially that last line. I'm an eggs and toast. Even though you were late to school, it's bad to skip breakfast. I skip breakfast all the time. I get all cranky. She gets angry. Well, I guess there's no point arguing. Anyway, thanks for showing me. This was so much fun. Monika's the best. Yeah. I know this game is popular. Out of curiosity, is there Sayuri, Monika, fanships going on? With how pro Monika she is. But next time, I won't forget. And I'm going to read the best poem ever. Well, I guess I look forward to it. Okay, we'll end this episode here. We'll see where we go with all this. Hasn't been eventful yet. I'm sure we'll get there. I'm Tatocat. If you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe. Have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon.